Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to my channel Learn Math with Syed Ali. Today we have a word problem here. Topic is same, the quadratic functions, and here is a question. The Ambassador Bridge is suspension bridge that crosses the Detroit River and connects Windsor. So we all know that this is the Ambassador Bridge, right? It is a suspension type of bridge. The two towers that support the center span of the cables rises 118 meters above the river and are 564 meters apart. The cable reaches its lowest point approximately 46 meters above the river. A part, now we have two parts of this question. Sketch a graph to show the curve of the cable if the origin is centered under the lowest point of the cable at the river's surface. So one thing is to sketch the graph, and second thing is that determine an equation to represent the curve of the cable in the form of y is equals to a times x minus r x minus s, which is factored form, right? If possible. If it is not possible to represent it, then we have to give the reason. If not, explain why. So we will see the graph, and if this graph cut the x-axis, that means it has got x-intercepts, and then it can be written in this form. So we have to look at the graph first, and then we will determine the part B of this question. Now, the question says that we have a suspension bridge. Suspension bridge curve can be anywhere, right? But we have to see that that is suspended by two towers, and those two towers are how much high? He's saying 118 meters high. 118 is your y coordinate, right? So we have to see what x coordinate is, but y coordinate is fixed by 118. So here is also 118 and here is also 118. But this 118, so both are 118 meters high, right? So it's given, right? So we can read it again. The two river supports 118 meters above the river. So these are the two towers. And then 564 meter apart. They are 564 meter apart. The total distance between them is 564. So this distance is 564 meter. Right? So what else is given? 564 meter is here. Right? The interesting thing is the cable reaches its lowest point. So cable reaches its lowest point. This is important. Approximately 46 meter above the river. 46 meter above the river. That means if this is the river, then it is 46 meter above the river. So that means it is y coordinate is 46. We have to figure out what is the x coordinate, right? In each case. So now sketch the graph to show the curve of the cable if origin is centered under the lowest point. So this is important actually. So if centered, origin is here, then that means this is my y-axis. So I will use another color so that we can distinguish between the fact and the plot. So he says that this is underneath. So this was my 46, but this origin is here underneath this point, right? So underneath, so sketch the graph to show the curve of the cable if the origin is centered. If the origin is centered under the lowest point. So this is the lowest point and the origin is here. So that means origin is 0, 0, right? So what is the x coordinate of this? Is 0. So that means this coordinate is 0 and 46. This is my vertex. So as you read the question, you got the solution to it actually. And then we have to find out what are the x coordinate here, right? So that is also actually given, because if this is your 0, 0 and these two towers are 564 meters apart, That means from origin, how much they are. Like, what is this distance? This is your x coordinate, which is half of 564. So only the thing or the math you have to do is 564 divided by 2, which is equals to 282 meters. That means here x coordinate is 282 and here x coordinate is minus 282, because this is the x-axis and this one is my y-axis. So what was given? The important thing was that the cable, if the origin is centered under the lowest point of the cable, so under the lowest point of the cable, so the vertex becomes 0 and 46, and these 2 points become minus 282 to the left and 282 to the right. So we have all these 3 points. If we have vertex, if we have 2 points, then we can draw the curve. You can take like 100, maybe 100, 200 and 300. So your 282 is somewhere in between 100, 200 and 300, and then you have 282 is somewhere there. So this way you can plot the graph of this cable which is supporting the ambassador bridge. Now the second part. Second part is determine an equation represents the curve. So is this curve is cutting x-axis? No, this curve is not cutting x-axis, right? So that means you cannot write the equation in this form. So you will say it is not possible to write an equation in the form y is equals to a times x minus r x minus s, because the graph has no x-intercepts. You can only write this equation when you have the x-intercepts known, right? The graph is not cutting the x-axis, therefore you cannot write an equation which is like an intercepts form, right? Or this is factored form. So hope you like the video. If you like it, subscribe my channel, press the bell icon button to receive another video. Thank you for watching.